Throughout automotive history, there have been countless cases where promising models were suddenly canceled just before production. The reasons varied, from questionable management decisions to lack of funding or technical issues. But the result is the same. The world never got to see some truly cool cars that had the potential to become legends. In this video, I'll show you 10 amazing concept cars that never made it past the prototype stage. Before we begin, a quick note. I use AI voiceover because I'm still learning English. But everything else, the ideas, topics, script, research, and editing, is done by me. So please support the channel with a like and a subscription. Let's get started. In 1991, at the Frankfurt Motor Show, Mercedes-Benz unveiled a concept that had all the makings of a legend, the C112. This was a mid-engine sports car with a 6.0-liter V12 engine producing 408 horsepower. Sure, that number doesn't sound insane today, but thanks to a lightweight composite body, the C112 was estimated to hit 309 kilometers per hour and go from 0 to 100 in just 4.9 seconds. Visually, it looked incredible. Sleek, balanced, and unmistakably Mercedes. The car was built on the platform of the Sauber C11 race car, so it had real motorsport pedigree. Yet inside, it was pure luxury, like stepping into an S-Class. Premium materials, a refined design, and top-notch comfort. And here's the thing. Mercedes was actually really close to putting it into production. The prototype was nearly production-ready. But at the last moment, management pulled the plug. Too niche, too expensive, and probably didn't fit the brand's strategy at the time. Which is a shame. The C112 could have been a true 90s icon, and a serious rival to Ferrari and Lamborghini. In the late 2000s, many sports car brands started thinking, what if a high-performance car could also be practical? This led to the birth of cars like the Porsche Panamera and Aston Martin Rapide. But not everyone made it past the concept stage, especially the Italians. In 2008, Lamborghini revealed the Estoque, a sleek four-door concept that marked two major firsts for the brand. It was the first Lamborghini sedan ever, and the first in 15 years with a front-mounted engine. Sounds crazy, right? A front-engined four-door Lamborghini? But it wasn't just a styling exercise. Under the hood sat a 5.2-liter V10 from the Gallardo, producing 560 horsepower, with power sent to all four wheels. It was meant to be fast, luxurious, and practical enough for four adults. And the design? Absolutely stunning. It shared styling cues with the wild Lamborghini Reventon, but in a more refined, road-ready package. Sharp lines, wide stance, pure presence, Estoque looked like it was ready for the showroom. Lamborghini even talked about pricing and planned to launch it around 2011. But for whatever reason, the project was shelved. Maybe it wasn't the right time, or maybe it just flew too close to the sun. To this day, the Estoque remains one of the most beautiful Lamborghini concepts that never made it to production. Cadillac has a bad habit. They build jaw-dropping concept cars, and then do absolutely nothing with them. That was the case with the incredible Cadillac 16 back in 2003, and the same story repeated in 2011 with the stunning Cadillac Ciel. Ciel was a convertible, but not just any convertible. It looked like a modern take on the grand land yachts of the 1950s and 60s. Sleek and elegant, with classic proportions and tons of presence. It had massive 22-inch wheels, a long body full of chrome accents, and a cabin that screamed luxury. Under the hood, Ciel had a 426 horsepower hybrid powertrain. It could hit 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 5 seconds and had a top speed of 280 kilometers per hour. Though honestly, no one cared about the numbers. This wasn't about performance, it was about cruising in style and turning heads while doing it. And here's the thing, if Cadillac had actually built this car, it could have marked a turning point. American luxury had lost its way by the end of the 20th century. Compared to the iconic cruisers of the 50s and 70s, modern US luxury cars just didn't have the same magic. But Ciel had that magic. It was the perfect opportunity for American car makers to reclaim the full-size luxury title, to bring back the land yacht glory days. Sadly, it never made it past the concept stage. Cadillac Ciel remains a beautiful what-if, a reminder of what American luxury could have been. In the early 1990s, Bugatti was trying to make a comeback. Once a legendary name, the brand was slowly rebuilding its identity as a maker of powerful, luxurious machines. Everyone expected them to focus on sleek, high-performance supercars. But in 1993, Bugatti threw a curveball. They unveiled a full-size luxury sedan. This was the EB112, and people honestly didn't know what to make of it. A four-door Bugatti? With styling that looked more like a tribute to the grand touring cars of the 1930s than anything modern? That's exactly what it was. Designed by Giorgetto Giugiaro, the EB112 was a bold and very unorthodox vision. It featured a sweeping roofline, a massive hood, and a rear end that felt more vintage than futuristic. And that was the point. The body was made from lightweight aluminum, and under the hood sat a naturally aspirated 6.0-liter W12 engine, pushing out 460 horsepower. The car had all-wheel drive and could accelerate from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in under 5 seconds. Impressive for a sedan weighing nearly 2 tons. It had a top speed of around 280 kilometers per hour. These weren't just concept numbers. This car was built to move. What made the EB112 so unique wasn't just its styling or performance, but the fact that Bugatti actually planned to build it. It wasn't meant to be a one-off showpiece. They envisioned it as a low-volume luxury model that would compete with Bentley or Rolls-Royce, but with a performance edge. It was a luxury grand tourer with the heart of a sports car. Despite its size, the car handled with surprising poise, thanks to its front mid-engine layout and balanced weight distribution. Sadly, the timing couldn't have been worse. Bugatti hit financial trouble in the mid-90s, and the EB112 project was shelved. Only 3 prototypes were ever completed. One of them still exists today and occasionally appears in public, giving us a glimpse of what might have been. The EB112 wasn't just an interesting idea. It was a bold attempt to redefine luxury. It fused classic elegance with cutting-edge engineering, and even if it never reached production, it remains one of the most ambitious concepts in Bugatti's modern history. In 1995, Ford unveiled something absolutely insane, the GT90 concept. And make no mistake, this wasn't just a flashy show car for auto expos. It was Ford's way of saying, we can build the supercar of the future. And looking at it, yeah, it really did seem like it came from the future. The GT90 was envisioned as a spiritual successor to the legendary GT40, but in reality, it was much more than that. This was a hypercar, years ahead of its time. The sharp lines, center-mounted exhaust, and low-slung silhouette made it look like something straight out of science fiction, especially when most cars in the 90s were still playing it pretty safe in terms of design. Under the hood, pure madness. A quad-turbocharged 6.0-liter V12 engine, pumping out an estimated 720 horsepower. That's right, 4 turbochargers. The top speed? over 230 miles per hour or 370 kilometers per hour. In 1995, that was absolutely mind-blowing. The GT90 was built on a modified Jaguar XJ220 chassis, and it wasn't just a static display car, it actually ran. Engine, transmission, suspension, everything worked. It even featured active aerodynamics and made extensive use of composite materials to reduce weight and improve handling. Ford had a chance to go toe-to-toe with Ferrari, Lamborghini, and McLaren, but it never happened. The execs at Ford decided that building a hypercar didn't fit the brand's image. That's not what Ford does, they said. So, the GT90 remained a one-off, a glimpse into an alternate automotive future that never came. Today, the GT90 lives in a museum, but it still makes appearances at shows now and then. And even decades later, it still looks futuristic. This was a car that was simply too early for its time. But it's cars like this that keep automotive history exciting. In 2013, at the Tokyo Motor Show, Nissan surprised everyone with two amazing concepts, the IDx Freeflow and the IDx Nismo. It was one of those rare moments when a carmaker nailed the design, the vibe, and the timing all at once. Both concepts were heavily inspired by the classic Datsun 510, short wheelbase, sharp lines, and that retro charm. The Freeflow was the more civilian version, finished in light colors with a vintage-style interior. The Nismo, on the other hand, brought the aggression, racing-inspired paint job, body kit, and a more hardcore attitude. Under the hood, the plan was for a turbocharged 1.6-liter engine, rear-wheel drive, the recipe for a perfect lightweight driver's car. Basically, a direct rival to the Toyota GT86 and maybe even the Mazda MX-5, but with a proper Nissan badge. Not a crossover, not an EV. Just pure fun. Fans and journalists loved it. It had all the ingredients to become a cult car. But of course, it never made it to production. Nissan called it too niche, too risky. A real shame. The IDX could have been Nissan's return to grassroots driving fun, just like the AE86 once was for Toyota. In the early 90s, BMW teamed up with Idle Design to create a vision of the ultimate supercar, and the result was the BMW Nazca, a machine that still looks like it came from the future. There were 3 versions in total: the Nazca M12 in 1991, the Nazca C2 in 1992, and the open-top C2 Spider in 1993. All of them were designed by a young Giorgetto Giugiaro, and they looked absolutely stunning. With a carbon fiber body, scissor-style doors with glass upper sections, and those low-slung, race-ready proportions, the Nazca was pure art on wheels. Under the hood, V12 engines borrowed from the BMW 8 Series. The C2 had 380 horsepower, weighed just around 1,100 kilograms, and could hit 100 kilometers per hour in about 4 seconds. Top speed? Over 310 kilometers per hour. And remember, this was the early 90s. The public and press were blown away. Everyone expected BMW to release a limited run, or at least build a handful for collectors. But BMW said no. It was just a design and tech showcase. There were rumors of private orders or one-offs, but nothing official ever came, and that's a shame. The Nazca had all the right ingredients to become a legend, something like the McLaren F1. Just imagine, a BMW supercar with a carbon body, V12, and that wild design. But sadly, it stayed in the concept stage, a dream car that never became real. Back in the late 80s, when the supercar craze was starting to heat up, Peugeot decided to make a bold move and enter the game. and they did it with the stunning Oxia concept. This wasn't just a design exercise, but a full-on engineering showcase of what the French automaker was capable of. Oxia looked like a spaceship from the future, ultra-low, aerodynamic, with huge air intakes and sleek body lines. The body was made of composite materials and even featured carbon fiber, which was a big deal back in 1988. But the real magic was under the hood. The car had a 2.8-liter twin-turbo V6 engine, producing 680 horsepower, paired with all-wheel drive and a 6-speed gearbox. Top speed? An estimated 350 kilometers per hour, about 217 miles per hour. Numbers that still sound wild even today. The interior was futuristic as well. Bucket seats, a navigation system, in the 80s, air conditioning, cruise control, and even a CD player. Oxia was a rolling tech lab and showed what Peugeot could do if they wanted to go all in. Unfortunately, it never reached production. Only 2 units were ever built, and the dream of a French hypercar faded away before it could become reality. Too bad, Peugeot could have made history in the supercar world long before most others even tried. In 2010, Renault unveiled a concept car that turned a lot of heads, the Renault DeZir. It was the first major project by the company's new design chief, Laurens van den Acker, and it set the tone for Renault's future. In fact, DeZir became the foundation of the brand's entire design language for the next decade. The car looked like something from a sci-fi movie. Smooth, flowing lines, massive gull-wing doors, and a fully electric powertrain. It managed to be both futuristic and elegant, with that unmistakable French sense of style. Under the skin, DeZir packed a 150 horsepower electric motor and a 24 kilowatt-hour battery, giving it a range of around 160 kilometers, about 100 miles. It could go from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in just 5 seconds. Seriously impressive for an EV back in 2010. But DeZir was more than a cool concept. It was a statement. Its front end, with the oversized Renault badge and LED lighting, went on to inspire the Clio, Capture, Megane, and even the Talisman. Still, DeZir itself never made it into production. No limited run, no special editions, nothing. Maybe Renault thought a sleek electric sports car didn't fit with their affordable image. Or maybe it was just too risky at the time. Either way, it's a shame. DeZir wasn't just beautiful. It was confident, forward-looking, and full of personality. It could have been Renault's icon of the new era, but it stayed a dream on 4 wheels. In the late 90s, Volkswagen decided to break away from its practical image and prove it could build a true supercar. That idea gave us the Volkswagen W12 concept, one of the most refined and self-assured designs the brand has ever created. Unveiled in 1997, the W12 didn't rely on aggressive styling or wild shapes. Instead, it had a confident, clean design that looked mature and purposeful. Smooth lines, wide stance, minimal drama. This car didn't shout. It simply made its presence known. The kind of design that doesn't try too hard, because it doesn't have to. Beneath that composed exterior was some serious engineering. A mid-mounted W12 engine, first producing 420 horsepower, then upgraded to 600 in the GT version. It could hit 100 kilometers per hour in just 3.5 seconds and go well over 350 kilometers per hour. And unlike many flashy concepts, the W12 was fully functional and even set endurance records on the track. Volkswagen actually considered putting it into production. It could have been a halo car, a statement of what the brand was capable of. But priorities shifted toward building up Bentley and Bugatti, and the W12 never made it to the showroom floor. A real shame, because this wasn't just a pretty face. The W12 was fast, solid, and completely real. A car that could have changed VW's image, if only it got the chance. These concept cars were stylish, powerful, and full of potential, but they never made it to production. Which one would you like to see on the road? Let me know in the comments. I always enjoy reading your thoughts. If you enjoyed the video, give it a like and subscribe to the channel. There are many more fascinating transport stories coming soon.